Welcome to the Luke and Pete show. I am Pete Donaldson. I'm John Mr. Lukey Moore.
Hello.
It's Diane Keaton's birthday, the late great Diane Keaton.
She died fairly recently, didn't she?
She did. Marilyn Manson's as well. And who else? Bianca Censori, that woman who's always got her top off, who hangs around with Kanye West. Oh, doesn't anymore. I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
What's Kanye? I like to know where Kanye is. What's Kanye
He's
up
had a
to?
pretty low-key end to last year, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't like him being quiet. I want to know what he's up to
I like
be
that
honest.
Marilyn Manson's called Brian. That'll always tickle me.
Yeah, well, he's sort of he's shipped a bit of weight and now he looks like primo Marilyn Manson.
Has he been cancelled? Has he?
Yeah, I still can't escape those accusations. I think, but there you go.
So he's not. But has he actually been cancelled, or is he still working?
He's still working. Oh, look, you never get cancelled, do you? Louis C.K. never get cancelled for doing terrible things.
Louis C.K. just kind of randomly just came back, and that was that.
Yeah. Take a couple of years out and then come back and you can sell out Madison Square Gardens again. It's really easy stuff.
It's so reflective of the society in which we live, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the society is the one that decides whether people are cancelled or not, right?
Yeah, but people will complain that you're cancelling this person, you're cancelling that person. No one ever gets cancelled. No one ever gets cancelled. They can always come back. They can always come back, no matter what they've done.
Watkins got cancelled.
He did. Well, he got imprisoned. It's hard to sort of rebuild anything, one would suggest, from prison. He got cancelled and murdered, so there we go. That's quite an interesting thing in 2025, isn't it?
2026, Peter.
2020? No, but it happened in 2025.
Oh, it did happen.
Didn't it?
Sorry, you're absolutely right. It did happen in 2025, yeah.
I wonder if it made... I didn't check the Heroes of Switzerland art collective run by somebody I know, and they always do like sort of people we've lost tea towel. They'll get like different artists to draw the faces of the people who have died that year. So Diane Keaton would have been in there.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering whether Ian Watkins made it onto
I wouldn't have thought so, no.
Wouldn't have thought so, no. Might have done. I mean, it's not celebrating them necessarily.
But what you're saying is for someone to be truly cancelled, like take the Louis C.K. example, for him to truly be cancelled, he would have to announce a comeback show at Madison Square Garden and no one would go.
Yes, completely agree. Yeah, the money's still coming in.
Because people are prepared to overlook his indiscretions because they like his stuff.
Yes.
It's like it's no different to the kind of that shit on Twitter where everyone's talking about how Man United should try and re-sign Mason Greenwood or Mason Greenwood should play for England or whatever. Because people just don't care. They make an assessment. They go, I don't fucking care. I like football. I don't care about that.
Yeah. And that needs to stop.
And we're not cancelable enough because we're not popular enough.
No, exactly. I sort of wonder whether if we had the sort of following that others have, that my stuff would be judged more harshly. But as it stands now, it's a lovely little cult classic that nobody cares about.
Yeah, you're a cult classic, not a bestseller, right?
No, I'm not a cult classic, but I'm part of a cult classic, not a bestseller. So, yeah.
So you know that Andrew Schultz. You know Andrew Schultz?
Yes.
Quite a controversial fella, so I think it's fair to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's being rewarded with a Hollywood movie, isn't he?
I mean, he's always done a bit of acting. What Hollywood movie?
He's in the new Street Fighter movie.
Right. He's been in TV shows and stuff. He was in he's in that TV show about the tires. I think.
Sneaky Pete.
Sneaky Pete. But
it's just called Tires, isn't it? That show. But he was in Sneaky Pete as well, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. He's done loads of stuff, bits and bobs.
Oh, I didn't realise he was an actor as well. But what I'm saying is, he's quite a controversial guy.
Yeah. The thing about these guys, obviously he's was he controversial? Was he the one who had Trump on the show? I can't remember. I can never keep hold of all of these kind of different. He did Riyadh as well. I know that, but I can never sort of keep hold of all of these sort of personalities in America. These alt-right kind of guys. Yeah. But but they've all given up on Trump anyway, so it's fine. We'll see uncancelable. Just do a volte face.
It's so funny how
once
these
politicians
people
in power
have finally realised that Trump is mad. Like what's I'd love to know from each of them individually what is the individual incident that made them decide that, because most normal people could see that with about 10 seconds back in 2015. I don't think you should get any credit for that 10 years later, where your grift has suddenly finally come to the end of the line. My God, I think 2026 is going to be a crazy year for this kind of thing. I think we're going to reach kind of critical mass, and then we're going to hopefully still have a world at the end of it and slowly rebuild and go, oh, that was a bit weird. You know, in the same way, like you look back at COVID and go, there's some really weird stuff happened then.
Yeah, people did go strange. I don't think we'll go strange again when the inevitable next wave of whatever China's got for us get, because obviously the Americans have gutted mRNA research and all that shit to vaccine.
So we just have to take our chance. Just decide to stay in the house on our own.
I don't think we'll go quite so mad, because in recent memory we sort of remembered it. But yeah, I mean, having a child in my house, I'm like, oh, I'm glad we missed that. I'm glad we missed that COVID stuff.
But like some of the stuff you look at. So I don't quite remember if what's his name, Adam Curtis has used some of this footage in any of his stuff. Maybe he has more recently. I can't remember. But sometimes you'll catch a clip of COVID era life, and it'll be those. One of the famous ones is the older couple cuddling each other through the plastic in the old people's home.
Yes,
and it's like, that seems so surreal now. That seems like a really, because that was a totally earnest, serious thing that two OAPs were forced to do.
Yeah.
And it just seems mental now. The same as the old, in a slightly more kind of comic way, well-meaning but ultimately foolish, normal people standing on their doorstep banging their pots and pans for the NHS. This is quite weird, isn't it?
I don't know why. What were the pots and pans all about? Like, why choose that?
Noise, isn't it?
Yeah, but why choose that? Why choose pots and pans?
Well, near where my parents live is still a kind of street sign that's painted on the road itself by the council, saying, "Thank you, NHS workers."
You'll still see every now and again circular stickers on the floor where people had to stand in a queue outside a shop.
A weird ghost of like a previous life.
Yeah. Wild. Absolutely wild.
So what do you think will happen if another pandemic comes back?
I don't think anyone will respect any lockdowns. I think people just go about the way that they go and take their chances. Personally, I don't think anybody will listen to what needs to be done.
I always remember Rick and Michael and Science-ish, that show they had, which then became Eureka and was with us for a while. But on Science-ish, they would always be talking about pandemics.
Right. Okay. Saying what pre-COVID?
Yeah. Saying this is on the cards. It's going to happen. Yeah. Forget about meteors. Forget about massive volcanoes erupting. The thing that is 100% going to happen is a pandemic, and it'll be bad. And the reason it's going to be bad is because this, and this, and all that stuff happened. And that was obviously a combination of like all you needed was essentially a pandemic that was very transmittable, which COVID was, combined with the interconnectivity of modern life, right? So planes and busy cities and all that kind of stuff. The real one would be because do you remember the Ebola outbreak?
Yes.
In Africa, in West Africa, and then obviously the US did a load of amazing work stopping it spreading. The thing about Ebola was like it was really, really like bad, like as in the mortality of it was bad, right? It's like a really, really bad fatality rate, right? But it wasn't that easy to transmit it. You had compared to COVID, it was really difficult to transmit it, right? The worst, and then obviously with COVID, you had a really, really transmissible thing, but it was nowhere near as dangerous, relatively speaking, as Ebola. The real bad thing would be if you had, the fatality and mortality rate of Ebola with the transmission rate of COVID. Then you look at 28 days later type stuff.
Yeah.
Have a think about that for the start of the year.
I was reading about this guy who, in the early part of the last century, was he was might be the back end of the 1800s. He was dealing with a load of patients with pellagra.
Right, I never heard of that.
Or pellagra rather. Just basically, I think it's a lack of vitamin B3. Right. So all of these people in the Deep South were dying and getting really ill, and they were getting sort of like a sunburn kind of symptoms.
Right.
And they and it was all right around their necks and stuff, and it was killing thousands of people every year. I think it was 1914, and so the government sent this doctor, Dr. Joseph Goldberger, to go and investigate it.
Right.
Find the germ that was being transmitted and kill it. And if it was a germ, I'm reading off this now, quarantine was the answer. If it wasn't, then the entire economic structure of the South was to blame. He noticed basically that all of his patients were dying of this stuff, but the nurses were healthy. The nurses who were treating these patients they weren't catching it. In every other infectious ward, the typhoid, cholera, everyone got ill, but they spread wherever. But the doctors were absolutely fine. The nurses were absolutely fine. So Goldberger just sort of noticed that the staff were eating good food, or solid food, meat, milk, eggs, and the patients were eating shit meat, poor cornmeal and molasses. It was basically just starvation.
Right.
And so all of these poor people, they weren't catching diseases, they were just dying because they just didn't have the right diet.
How many people
for the
died,
area.
Peter?
I don't know. So I don't know the numbers, but lots and lots of people died. But he basically proved that it was, through isolating patients, feeding them proper food, they got better. The ones who didn't died, really high stakes stuff. And he basically he fed some orphans fresh milk and meat, and they recovered. And the politicians and the local doctors were absolutely furious because he was like a Jewish northern doctor who come down here telling these southerners the way of life of eating molasses and all that shit caused poverty and disease, and they refused to believe that this was this was the problem. They still thought it was transmissible. And so he kept on proving it. He went to prisons and stuff, isolated prisoners, managed to sort of fix them really quickly and stuff. And he even did experiments where he would take the blood from ill people, injected it into himself and his wife. He would wrap the...
Don't get the wife involved.
Don't get the wife involved.
Why she catching strays here? This is your fight, not mine.
He would swab their noses, put it into sort of bread that he would eat. He would cover. He would a bit like the toilet man we talked about some years ago.
Like it, yeah.
He would dip bread in the blood and scabs of the dying people and eat them to prove.
All right, we get it.
That it was
we get it. All right.
It was not.
Imagine him saying that. Stop it.
And so the politicians of the South feared that admitting to widespread malnutrition would stop people investing in the area. So they declared that they would handle a problem. They rejected food aid, federal food aid, and Goldberger just spent the rest of his life just fucking screaming into nothing.
Mad,
like that's not that long ago. It wasn't until the 1940s. When the US government mandated flour fortification that actually vanished.
Right.
I mean,
I was talking about the fortification
incredible.
of food earlier, actually, because the fortification of breakfast cereal is a massive development in the Western world that doesn't really get talked about. But that's made a huge contribution to like the health of children, for example.
Yeah. I think that Joseph Goldberger just liked eating scabs and poo.
Gets involved.
Dirty boy.
Yeah.
But and if you think that big business is the way forward, that's why it's not the way forward, because they will find any excuse to murder you for a fucking gold
There's
coin.
loads of examples of people, like companies or institutions behaving in that kind of uncaring way, isn't it? That's the thing. Like if you take in many ways, if you look at, say, capitalism unchecked, unregulated, a lot of that is essentially what you see in parts of the United States, right? Where you get that
water
the Flint water crisis.
Flint water crisis. I mean, still going on. I mean, inexplicable in the year of our Lord, 2026. Incredible.
So I think the Flint water crisis, I think it officially ended in the middle of last year. So
right.
It was like 11 years or something.
Yeah. Incredible.
And it's just absolutely no one wants to take any responsibility and any accountability whatsoever. So basically, people in quite a big place. I mean, Flint is a big place, right?
Yeah.
It's basically about the size. The reason it sticks in my mind is it's basically about the size of the. I think it's about the size of the town I grew up in, right?
Right.
So it's a considerable conurbation. And they had to go without like clean drinking water in the world's richest economy for like 11 years.
It's just amazing.
But then it happens. I mean, I don't want to get on the old Thames water thing again, but it happens. It happens here,
Yes.
It
happens here. Fucking Thames water.
It's wild how this shit goes on. One of my favourite facts about that is, do you know what year? Because we are always like kind kind of seduced into thinking that certain things happened a long old time ago and all that kind of stuff. But do you know when one of my favourite bits of trivia, let me get this right. The last person executed by guillotine in France happened the same week as the first Star Wars movie came out.
Look, we may have mentioned this before, but I think, if you're going to go, it's not a bad way to go, is it? Like, it's pretty clear what's happening there, isn't it? It's like the electric might not work, the tablets might not be the right consistency for your body. You might have some kind of natural
some of those death sentences
for that too.
Bad. Yeah. I know what you're saying, but it still does seem...
So guillotine's pretty... I mean, it feels barbaric, doesn't it?
It feels French Revolution. It feels like 1790s.
But why is it more strange than maybe... I don't know, like maybe hanging's probably... Like, hanging's still done pretty much everywhere in the world, isn't it?
I don't think so. Not everywhere in the world, Peter.
A lot of places that you think don't.
The last person to be hanged in the UK was in the 50s or something?
Oh, that was 70s.
Was it?
Yeah, because we exclusively hung, didn't we?
Oh, I just looked. It's 1964 apparently.
Right.
We exclusively hung. That was what they put on the border when you arrived.
The well-hung Brits. The well-hung Brits. We call ourselves. Yeah. Should we take a shop break and do some emails?
Let's do that.
What dark start to 2020?
Really dark. What's wrong with us?
It's the Look at Peter in 2026. I can exclusively reveal that Ian Watkins didn't make it onto the Fallen Heroes Hero Switzerland
and rightly so.
Mainly because they did call it Fallen Heroes. So you got your David Lynch's in there. You've got your Kim Woodburn. You got your Ricky Hattons and Ace Frehley's and stuff. Hulk Hogan as well. But no place for.
Speaking of Ricky Hattons, that car crash Anthony Joshua had. My goodness,
fucking hell,
so bad.
Like going from like being on every telly to
really sad.
Being pulled out of an horrible car wreck. It was a couple of his team, wasn't it?
Two of his best friends were killed. Yeah, it's really sad. Such a sad story.
That is rough.
But we should move beyond all the horrible stuff because we're supposed to be giving people a little bit of entertainment here.
Yeah, all right.
And last time out we did about 15 minutes on racism, and this time around you've done a whole story on malnutrition in the Deep South, people eating scabs. God. What about this email then from Tara? This is the third food poisoning related email we've had.
Okay. No.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting take on the food poisoning stories that we've had. So I thought I'd read it. It goes like this. Hello, boys. My name is Tara, and I am originally from India. Full-time listener and maybe repeat emailer, although I can't remember. But after listening to the end of stories about food poisoning, I thought I would weigh in and share how immigration to Canada permanently changed my gut's ability to get it together. I've always prided myself on having an ironclad stomach. Being from India, I believe we have stronger immune systems and can generally tolerate a lot more than most people around the world. Therefore, it came as an absolute shock when upon moving to Canada 3 years ago, I started getting stomach infections and food poisoning multiple times a year. Now, one would assume that moving to a developed country with a healthier environment would mean that this would happen maybe never. Now, while I am an adventurous eater, this literally only happened when I ate in well-established places. Upon talking to my doctor about this, it turns out my stomach thrives when it's given a challenge like a lack of hygiene you would find back home. In short, my gut rebelled, and when I moved to a healthier, cleaner, more hygienic environment, I couldn't handle it. Who'd have thought?
It had nothing to sort of chew over. It had nothing to sort of... It was just... It was like going down the ladder on Mortal Kombat rather than going up.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
I think it's the first time I've ever heard that, because you always hear these cliches and these kind of tropes about, you go to India, have a can of Coke after every meal, don't drink the water, you're going to be sick, you'll get deli belly straight away, all this kind of shit.
My mate Balal, who was a British Asian lad, went over there, thought he could handle it without even taking any preventative kind of things, and he got very ill because he thought, I'm Indian. It's like, well, yeah, but you've lived in Britain all your life, mate. So, you've lived with the Leicester drinking water for such a long time. I don't think it goes like that.
Yeah, I don't think it works.
I don't think it matters like that, no.
But
it's one of my favourite stories. I love that. He's such an idiot.
I find that really interesting because you think the gut is Tara's gut is just like, what you got for me? This is tepid
this is
stuff.
This is
bored.
This is
I can
nothing.
get sick
I'm
out
bored
of
it. When
good.
stomachs can be too efficient. So, how have you kind of solved it? Are you just throwing Are you rubbing bread on a toilet seat? How are you solving this? How are we solving this?
Once a week, they throw bread on the toilet seat and eat it. I really wanted to hit my friend Carl, who kindly, I told you about him last week. He got that company that does maritime cameras.
Maritime cameras.
And he let me use his office to record him over Christmas. He's got an amazing food poisoning story, but he fucking refuses to email it in. I don't know why. Maybe he can't be bothered, but it's brilliant. It involves him going to
cameras.
Rural Egypt on his own for work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he said it ends up I think it ends up with him in a hospital in Cairo.
Right.
So we've got to get him to email it in at some point. He listens to the show, so hopefully he will. But why don't you read this one about Wallabies and Stoke, Peter? And yes, you heard me right.
Let me... right. Yes, hello, Luke and Pete Show. I thoroughly enjoyed the raccoon conversation. Or cheeky little scamps. This is from Nathan in Stoke. It made me think of a similar and often unknown tale. I live in Stoke-on-Trent, and this location might not be either as picturesque as the Scottish Highlands, nor seem ripe pickings for a similar of obscure animal absconding, but au contraire, we have an area of the Peak District on our doorstep called the Roaches, which is home to none other than a mob of wallabies for a number of years. Until 1975, Sir Philip Lee Brocklehurst, who was also part of Edward Shackleton's Antarctica expedition, owned a private estate here called Swithermley Park, or sometimes referred to as Roaches Hall. He charged a shilling to visit Lud's Church and £0.50 to climb the Roaches, which seems poor form in my opinion. I completely agree with that. Sir Philip's brother, Henry Courtney Brocklehurst, a big game hunter and collector of dead and live animals, also built a private zoo on the estate. Wallabies, yaks, llamas and apes all lived in this corner of Staffordshire, but clearly the wallabies were the most interested and equipped for exploration of the area. Around the 30s or the 40s, 19s that is, 5 Bennets wallabies escaped their captors and began to grow in numbers. The mob thrived for decades, feeding on bracken and heather, which heavily covers the picturesque landscape. Presumably the rocky terrain also created areas for shelter as well. Sadly, though, they are now believed to be extinct in the area, and the last recorded sighting was in 2009.
Oh,
the context, I know, the context of the Roaches changed to damage the population. Winters can be harsh on this elevated area, and roads became busier. Furthermore, some believed that inbreeding, not uncommon in nearby Leek, little bit of local beef there, also damaged the population. More happily, a Wares Wallaby sculpture trail was introduced in the Staffordshire moorlands in 2025 to honour this unique, albeit likely now vanished local population. Despite the reputation Stoke has, this truly is an incredibly beautiful area. I'd really urge you to take a Google of the Roaches, Lud's Church and Thor's Cave. I can send a few snaps myself if you like, but unfortunately for you, you might have to endure my grid being in the picture. Luke's mentioned how fond he is of the Lake District and Scotland's natural beauty. The peaks offer similar views and experiences while being a little bit more accessible. Thank you for another year of elapsed merriment. Have a great Christmas and a new year. Nathan and Stoke, a lovely email about wallabies.
Yeah, great to hear. I've not been to the Peak District very much. I've been to the Yorkshire Dales as well. I stayed in Settle, which is a beautiful part of the world. So I understand that the UK has an amazing amount of areas of outstanding natural beauty, of course. Peak District, I'd like to go there. What I would say is, by the way, that the Roaches, I'd heard of them, and the reason I've heard of them is because I believe I'm right in saying that what they were known for before was this. I think it's the site of the story of the myth of the Green Knight.
Right.
You know, one of King Arthur's knights, Sir Gawain, who cuts off the Green Knight's head, and the Green Knight picks his own head up and starts talking to him. And there was a film made about it.
Right.
With Dev Patel.
Right,
a few years ago. It was a really good movie. I watched it. I think that's the scene of the Green Knight myth. So that's why I knew of it. But I had no idea there were wallabies there, and I wish they were still there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that gets me about this Wallaby sculpture trail, though, is that they've done that thing that they occasionally do in Southend, where they will bring an elephant or a sort of a resin penguin, and there'll be 20 of them, and they'll scatter them around the Southend and Leigh-on-Sea, Chalkwell area, and children go around and try and collect all of, collect pictures with all of them. But it's all quite generic stuff, and those sculptures presumably get picked up and moved to wherever they're needed next. And I find this kind of quite homogenized generic art annoying.
Well, one of the original versions of that is the Grommet Trail, of course. My really good friend runs the Grommet Trail for the Children's Hospital in Bristol.
Is Grommet the dog?
Yeah,
Grommet.
And
right.
they get
so loads of different grommets.
They get a load of famous people and a lot of artists to design a different grommet and do a grommet trail, and they auction them off for charity at the end. So Paul McCartney did one last year.
Right. Okay. Well, we just get penguins in Southend.
But that seems a bit more generic.
Yeah.
I think the grommet trail might have been the original one. You know.
Yeah.
Because I know this story well because the person I know who does it has to spend quite a lot of time the next day after the auction ringing up people with hangovers saying, you bid this amount of money.
Yes.
You need to stump up, kind of thing.
Stump it up, for crying out loud, big boy.
And
unbelievable.
Do you know what they also do? If they refuse to honour it, they make them pay the difference between their bid and the second best bid.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. You'd probably accept that more, wouldn't you?
But can I also just say, on a slightly tangential note around the extinct population of animals, around this time, I read this recently. I can't remember exactly, but within the last few weeks, have you ever seen the last ever photo of the last ever Barbary lion? You know that story?
No, I don't think I have. No.
Have you heard of a Barbary lion?
I've heard of a Barbary lion.
Yes, so obviously they're extinct, and they were extinct about 100 years ago. But the very last photo of a Barbary lion was taken exactly 100 years ago. And it's one lion on its own walking through the Atlas Mountains. One of the greatest nature photographs you'll ever see. It's a truly, truly haunting image. And I would recommend anyone who's not seen it, look it up. Just Google that and you'll see it. Just
having a little wander.
Yeah.
Like, see you later, looking for a mate who's never going to be found.
Yeah.
Awful.
Mad, isn't it?
Awful, that.
It's very poignant. Very poignant photograph.
Fucking Ottoman Empire.
But I would like to see a lot of other animals introduced into the UK. I know we've got beavers now. There's talk of wolves and bears, aren't there? Get involved.
Let's have some bears. Japan's absolutely beset by bear problems. Let's have some of their bears.
Is it really?
Yeah, got real problems.
Well, what problems of what type? They striking? Are they?
They keep killing people. It's a bit of a problem.
All right. Well, before we go, I'm going to finish off with another air fryer email. Get those ones out of the way and get them done while we're still on the kind of slightly in the season of air fryers.
The trajectory, yeah.
It's from Robbie. He says, "Hi guys, long-term Ramble listener and Luke and Pete show listener. I had to go back to the GP slagging off to understand what was said, but I've enjoyed adding it to my pod schedules. Some good easy listening. However, with the recent discussion of the air fryer potatoes, I need to warn Peter that if he is considering it for Christmas, this obviously email's a few weeks old, do not go there. I've tried everything to get them to work and they always come out unsatisfactory. Not crispy, not cooked, just a disappointing, tough potato.
You can't crisp them up. That's the one thing they do.
He says, before you say, did you use X oil or did you parboil them? Yes, I've done it all and it's always been shit. And I'm a big air fryer evangelist. Get your beef in there, you'll be fine. Potatoes, no way.
Yeah. All right.
We did get some other emails saying that the potatoes are really good in the air fryer, so I'm confused.
Of course they are. He's not turned it on. If you want to get in touch with the show, as always, it's hello@lukepeteshow.com. We'll be back on that there Monday.
Thursday.
Let's come back on Monday.
Let's come back.
It's Monday today. Yeah. Let's come back on Thursday.
You really are Buntle the wooden boy.
I really am Buntle the wooden boy. Yes. Look after yourselves. Luke?
I will look after myself. Thank you very much for your concern.
Yeah.
See you later on.
Bye-bye.